If I want to eat junk food, I'll eat junk food. There's no problem with that.
Fast food will lead to fast fat.
The smell of fast foods as they waft through the air as you walk past a fast food outlet is quite intense, and I think it triggers something in our brain.
I love fast food. It's just so greasy and tasty and just amazing.
According to the NHS, there's been a marked increase in obesity rates over the past 8 years. Some experts blame fast food for this. So how true is their theory? And is fast food killing our next generation? I'm Daniel Hussieni, and I've made it my mission to investigate how fast food is affecting our nation's health. Fast food is everywhere. The fast-paced lifestyle we live in today makes us look for the quickest, easiest option. Studies have found that over half our meals out are burgers, pizzas or kebabs. Meanwhile, experts predict over 50% of the UK will be obese by 2050. So should we be worried by these figures? I've travelled near and far to find the answers. The first logical place to investigate was the youth, who I asked what influenced their eating habits at college.
And for example, you have a group of friends and they're all eating chips, and you're like, why should I be the odd one out? So you'll go and eat chips with them.
I choose to eat healthy, and everyone else should if the option's there, which it is.
The canteen provides different food for different people, so my friends don't influence the food I eat.
So how does education impact our eating behaviour? Richard Hodgkiss told me more about food policy at college level.
We have an educational responsibility, and I think we serve that responsibility in attempting to make young people aware of eating and the issues around eating, and exercise and issues around exercise. I think that whether or not we can compel people to do these things is another matter. You can't make a rule that says you have to eat this or do that.
So are there any rules in place to stop people eating excessively junk food?
We view young people as maturing into adulthood. They have to start to make the right choices for themselves. The fact is, lots of young people in this college, and I'm sure colleges all around the country, go up the high street to the local chicken shop and buy something very greasy and probably not too healthy. I think the only thing you can do about that is continue to put into the curriculum information about the consequences of eating and exercising, and then it's up to people to make their choice.
After the age of 16, many young people are free from the shackles of school food regulations or their parents' home. I wondered how this new freedom would affect their food choice. I talked to a fast food addict who did not wish to reveal his identity. What does your weekly diet usually consist of?
Well, to be fair, it depends on what I feel like, to be honest. If it's like a weekend and I wake up kind of late or something, then I'll just rather go to like fast food shop. If it's like midday and I feel like I don't really want to go to like somewhere with fast food, I'd go Iceland and have something like a ready prepared meal for like one or someone that just takes a few minutes.
Do you think your friends at university think alike? I mean, like, we all normally just eat as a group anyway, so it's just like, it's basically like what we're going to eat and when we're going to eat it, like where we're going to go, like McDonald's or Sam's or like in a kebab house or something. It just depends on how we feel like or what we feel like having.
Apart from what you eat, how active would you say your lifestyle is?
I spend most of my time in my room, to be fair, like just playing video games now. But when I was back in secondary school, I was playing football like every weekend or so. I think to blame for this, it might be the fast food. It might have hit me now that I'm not as active as I was back then, coming here and like being here for a few months and then eating the fast food compared to home food. Or it might just be that I just can't be bothered to go out and just do more exercise than what I was used to doing.
So, do other young people feel the same about fast food addiction?
I wouldn't say it's addictive, but it's more of an easy grab. Like, you don't ever have a kitchen in front of you to cook food, so you just think, yeah, you know what, I'll grab it there. And with mates, it's just an easy thing, grab a bag of chips.
Definitely addictive, because you get that craving for grease. What I do anyway, I just fancy greasy food.
I don't find it addictive, personally, because I cook more and stuff.
Over 10 million people in the UK turn to their gym as a solution to staying fit and losing weight.
Despite this, obesity rates continue to rise instead of fall.
How would taking part in exercise change a person's attitude to eating?
I think it's about competition. If you're into exercising and if you value being healthy and fit, then it's going to compete with the temptation to eat bad foods. So it's a case of motivation again. If you're motivated to stay healthy, then you're more likely to moderate your junk food, because we all want to have some kind of a treat now and again. It's about getting that balance.
Do you think that fast food is killing Britain's youth?
I think fast food is killing Britain's youth, it's killing Britain's adults, and it's killing the elderly as well. It's killing everyone. There's so much fast food, junk food, processed food out there. It's definitely doing damage. So the only way to kind of stop it is to educate people, for people to educate themselves, so that demand for these foods just goes down slowly, and we can just replace it with something else. Maybe one day in 50 years, McDonald's will be serving organic food. Who knows? It could be something like that. That would be good.
You should be thinking healthily when you're young, because if you don't, fast food will lead to fast fat, and I think we know obesity is a problem. Fast unhealthy, which means you can't train your way out of it, and you should really think about training healthily and eating healthily, and it's never too young to start.
What advice would you give to young people on maintaining a healthy lifestyle?
While you're young, it's absolutely fine. I could eat what I liked when I was 20 years old, but when you turn 30 and when you turn 40, it sits. So you've got to take some conscious choices. So if you train cleverly and you eat sensibly, you can still indulge every now and then in foods that might not be so good for you.
I asked the public how sport or exercise affects their food choice.
I definitely think more about what I'm eating than compared to, say, some of my friends do. Because I play sport at the weekend, I think there's no point in putting fast food or rubbish into my body.
I teach dance, and I feel that it makes me feel more confident and energized when I release the endorphins at a workout.
Obviously, if you do sport, you feel more refreshed, athletic. I play football, so I like sports. I think if you don't play sports and you just sit at home, you're lazy, like couch potato, do you know what I mean?
Sam CONNIFF is the chairman of a youth marketing organisation called Livity. In Brixton, we discussed the role of advertising in Britain's fast food culture.
I think we need a greater degree of honesty around the impact of an unhealthy lifestyle. We can talk very clearly about smoking, or substance misuse, or even excessive alcohol consumption. It's much murkier when we start talking about fast food. The chicken that's going into the food that they're eating is largely been raised in the dark, largely and very often been grown through steroids and other forms of chemicals. Chances are that little chicken hasn't seen the light of day, any kind of life, its family, or any other things that make chickens happy. So all of that profoundly unhealthy is then being consumed by young people rapaciously every day, sold largely on the fact that it's very cheap and a little bit tasty. If I was doing the same into young people's minds, if I was putting poisonous content into young people's hearts, if I was taking always grown up in the dark, steroid chemically induced bad vibes and putting it into young people's ambition, where would it go? So the same point is true. I'm interested in young people's lives and their futures. I don't want to help them open doors for them to fall over dead, obese, full of heart disease because of an unhealthy diet. So I think we need to challenge these things in the same way.
Where do you think the responsibility lies in the youth's obesity? Is it the consumer or the fast food companies?
Responsibility for an individual lies with the individual, ultimately. We're all born as conscious human beings, and we can make the choices that we wish in this world. And I think it's not coincidence that on Brixton High Street, just down the road, Burger King is opposite KFC, and within a couple of minutes you've got a Morley's, a Dallas chicken, a chicken, and another chicken, and a couple more chickens. And if you're there after school, those shops will be largely filled with a school audience. So I think there's a healthy degree of targeting that's aimed at that demographic by those organisations. And I think those organisations If fast food companies only see young people as their opportunity, then they're selling young people short. And unless they see them as their responsibility as well as their opportunity, then they're not paying those young people the respect they deserve.
Sticking to a healthy diet is a challenge for many of us. It constantly tops our New Year's resolution lists. In Wimbledon, I asked a dietitian about the nutritional value of fast food in our diets.
The smell of fast foods as they waft through the air as you walk past a fast food outlet is quite intense, and I think it triggers something in our brain that makes us want to eat those foods or makes us crave those foods. But saying that, I'm not sure that I think fast foods are addictive. I think again that it's possible to educate children and adults into being more organized, into understanding the need for health and healthier options, and to understand the consequences of eating fast food on a regular basis. Having too much sugar in your diet can potentially lead to obesity, which is a main cause of cancer in this country, and then it could also lead to an increase in type 2 diabetes and also to tooth decay. And I might say at this point that in the UK population, both adults and children consume far too many sugary foods, so it is very important that we try and decrease our intake of all sugary foods, whether it be sweets or chocolates or cakes or biscuits or cool drinks. It is an important thing that we need to do.
You mentioned that the Coke has 9 teaspoons of sugar, but the World Health Organization said that foods which are usually thought of as healthy foods, such as bananas and other fruits, have hidden sugars within them. So does this mean we should change our view of eating 5 portions of fruit a day?
The difference is that the sugar that we find in your fruit is in the form of fructose. So this is a slow release sugar. It is broken down very slowly in your tummy, and it's released slowly into your bloodstream. So it gives you a very good blood sugar curve, which keeps your brain being fed for say 3 hours when you eat a banana. Whereas the sugar found in a soft drink, like a can of Coke, is much more fast release, and it has no benefit at all, that sugar inside Coke, because there's no other goodness inside there. Whereas when you look at a banana, you think it's got lots of fibre in it, it's got other vitamins and minerals, and you've got to look at the fruit, you know, in the context of the sugar, in the context of the whole diet. This is a good sugar, it's a natural sugar, and you want to keep this inside your diet. You want to try and get rid of those high-calorie foods which have got no other goodness in them at all.
Throughout this documentary, people have told me there's something different about fast food. Some even labelled it addictive. I went to the University of Surrey to find out why fast food is so appealing to young people.
A number of people in our documentary have blamed parents for the youth's bad food choice. Do you think parents are to blame?
Yes, absolutely. Parents have the car, they have the money, they have the cards. They do the shopping, they do the cooking, they control the environment of their children. It's extremely difficult to change eating habits because they're often things that we've learned from a very early age, from a very young childhood, and also the nature of a habit is really something which is triggered by the world that you're in. So you see a certain person, or you have a certain thought, or you feel a certain emotion, and that triggers the response to actually do the habitual behaviour. And that makes them really difficult to change because a lot of the time they're unconscious.
Is there a link between a person's mental state and the food choices they make? So if they're sad or happy?
Food can also have an impact upon your emotional state. So people tend to get caught up in a kind of cycle of feeling miserable, then eating, then feeling guilty, and then feeling fed up. And then because they feel fed up and guilty, then they eat more.
We tried to contact 3 of the leading fast food restaurants for their reply to some of the criticisms raised in our documentary. Unfortunately, each of them refused to comment, but they each make clear statements on their food policies. KFC state we're partnering with the UK government and other interested parties to help people make healthier food choices. Whilst McDonald's states McDonald's contributes to the development of wider healthy eating policies by working with government departments and organisations dedicated to healthy eating. While Subway say, we are a committed partner to the UK government's public health responsibility deal and the only quick service restaurant to have endorsed all of the relevant nutrition related pledges.
We've got to look at it almost in a triangle. I've seen Jamie Oliver explain it like this before, where he's got the home and he's got the school and he's got the main street in his corners of his triangle. And actually I do believe that that's right. I think that that all three corners are responsible.
Can we say that McDonald's is out killing children on the streets? No, we can't, because it's not as obvious or black and white as that. Is health and fast food related to health and young people? Yes, it is. Are more young people dying and unhealthy? Yes, they are.
We live in a world where the fast food industry is bombarding us with food, which isn't particularly healthy. Our portions are getting bigger, so we have grab bags of crisps, which are now twice the size, and duo bars of chocolate, which are twice or even 3 times the size. Pizzas are getting bigger for takeaways, and so as the food gets bigger and bigger and there's more of it, then we simply eat more.
So is fast food killing Britain's youth? I've come to an answer far more complex than I could have imagined. I've learned that good health is about more than just food choice. It comes down to education, how we raise our children through school and home. It comes down to the fast food companies taking more responsibility for their own customers' health. And most importantly, it comes down to our personal choice. To achieve this, we're going to need to change as a society. Whether we can change in time is our choice.